welcome to the September 24th full board meeting. First item on the agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance. Please rise and recite the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 3, invocation. Commissioner Carabelli is going to take over for Commissioner Lucido. Commissioner Carabelli, are you with us?
Yes, sir. I apologize. A little technical difficulty.
No problem.
If we can lower our heads, Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. We also ask you to help us to engage in meaningful discussion so that we can fulfill our obligation to our community. Lord, fill us with your grace as we make decisions that affect our residents. And please remind us here today that all we accomplish is in the greater good of your name. And at this time, I'd like to take a moment of silence for Mr. Morset. Thank you. In your name, Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. All right,
Amen.
number 5 on the agenda, or item number 4 is adoption of the agenda. Can I have a motion to adopt today's agenda?
Motion
Romano,
by
adopt
Hall.
the agenda.
I think I have Hall and Romano. I have a motion and support. Please vote. Excuse me.
That motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item number 5, approval of the minutes dated September 9th, 2020. Can I have a motion and support?
So moved by Commissioner Brown.
Thank you.
Support Romano.
I have Brown and Romano. Commissioners, thank you. Please vote.
Motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item 6, public participation. Any members of the public wishing to speak on any item on today's agenda, you'll have 5 minutes. Please give me your name and number. To unmute yourself, you would hit *6. So any members of the public wishing to speak? Second time, any members of the public wishing to speak? And as always, we'll have one more, third and final time, public participation. Any members of the public wishing to speak? Hearing none, we're going to close public participation. Item 7, we don't have any correspondence from the County Executive's Office, although Vicki will be here on today's meeting. So we're closed 7. Item number 8, appointments. So all of you are aware that we've added 2 new positions to the Veterans Affairs Commission. We have the appointments today. We have 2 vacancies. We have 4 individuals that applied for it. If any of them are on the line and wish to speak before we take a vote, I will be happy to have you speak. So if anyone is on the line, Norman, Joseph, Joel, or Terry, and wish to speak, if you would unmute yourself. Oh, hi. How are you?
Hi, this is Terry Weston. I just wanted to thank everybody for the opportunity, and I hope to work with you in the future. And I wish everybody the best. That's all.
Thank you, Terry. Any other of the potential appointees available and wish to speak?
Hello,
Yes,
Chair.
sir.
Oops, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yes, sir. This is Joe Raker. Appreciate the opportunity to serve in the Commission's consideration, and I wish well to whoever the Commission selects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I believe we have Joel there.
This is Joel Rutherford. I just wanted to thank the commissioners for taking the time to review all of our applications, and I'm sure whoever you select will do an outstanding job. Thank you.
So is Norman with us? Norman? Someone's unmuted. Not sure if it's you, Norman, but I can't hear you if it is. All right. So to all of you, we appreciate you you applying for these positions. There's 2 positions available, and there's 4 very qualified individuals that have applied for it. And all I will say is, please, please, please keep an eye on for those of you that don't make it today. These come up every year, and there's new openings. People that don't come back. We're very happy to get 4 real qualified people running for these appointments. So please, if you don't make it this time, come back and try again. So Crystal is going to take care of the voting just like we did last time. Commissioners, give her. She's going to call by roll call. Give her the 2 names you pick. Any of the members that make over, I believe, 7 votes today will be appointed. So Crystal, if you would take over and start the voting.
There are 2 different terms. The first one ends on July 31st, 2023. Should I take individual votes for those terms?
Yeah, I think we're going to have to do probably 1 for each term. I'm sorry, I forgot all about that. I would go with the one that ends
Chair
first.
Oh, because they end at different times. All right.
Right.
Yep. So
That kind of messes this up. Okay, thanks.
So let's do the one that ends on the year 2022 first, Crystal.
Okay. Commissioner Brown,
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Carabelli,
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Drollet,
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Duge,
Joel Rutherford.
Commissioner Ha,
Joe Rutherford.
Commissioner Kleinfeld,
Rutherford.
Commissioner Kraft.
I want Terry to stay a little bit longer, so I'm going to go with Joel Rutherford.
Okay, Commissioner Leonetti,
Joel Rutherford.
Commissioner Lucido. She might not be on yet. Okay. Commissioner Myjak, is he there? I do have a message from him that he lost connection and he wanted to vote for Rutherford. Commissioner Romano,
Rutherford.
Commissioner Sauger,
Crystal, this is Myjak. I'm voting for Rutherford. Thank you.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
This is Sauger. I'm voting for Rutherford.
Okay, and Chair Smith.
I'll vote for Terry Weston, Terry Weston, yes.
Terry Weston?
Correct.
Okay, so I have 8 votes for Joel Rutherford and 4 for Terry Weston.
All right.
So we have Joel Rutherford for the term ending July 31st, 2022.
Thank you.
And next, we'll be voting for the term ending July 31st, 2023. Commissioner Brown?
Terry Weston. Terry Weston.
Thank you. Commissioner Carabelli? Commissioner Carabelli?
I apologize, Joe Recker.
Commissioner Drollet?
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Duge?
Joseph Recker.
Commissioner Ha?
Joseph Record.
Commissioner Kleinfeld?
Joseph Recker.
Commissioner Kraft?
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Leonetti?
Terry Weston.
Okay, I don't think we have Commissioner Lucido yet, do we? No. Commissioner Myjak?
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Romano?
Terry Weston.
Commissioner Sauger?
Joey Recker. Sauger.
And Chair Smith?
Terry Weston.
Okay, I have Terry Weston with 7 votes and Joseph Recker with 5 votes. So Terry Weston will be appointed for the term ending July 31st, 2023.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you for all of you who applied, and please, please, please stay with us and apply again for the next ones that are open. It's very nice for us to have so many qualified people applying for these positions. So we're going to close 8A. Crystal, do we have to do a vote actually on the computer on this, or are we good with moving on to B?
We can, it's fine the way it is.
Okay, good. 8A or 8B. We have a Substance Use Disorder Oversight Policy Board. We have 2 vacancies and 2 people who have applied. I would maybe take a motion for Katie Donovan and Nancy Buell to be appointed to the.
So moved, Drollet.
Support.
Romano.
Thank you. I have motion and support. I want to make sure that this is okay to do it this way, but since there's only 2 vacancies and 2 appointees, I think we can go ahead and vote on that.
Motion passes 12-0.
Chair,
Oh, yes, go ahead.
I really think for the minutes, we should do a motion for those both appointments. Just put it all in one motion to approve both of them. I mean, we didn't do that, right? We didn't do motions, and I think that's how we act, is through motions.
We did a motion for B. We took a roll call vote on A. So I can take a motion to appoint Joel Rutherford and Terry Weston to the Veterans Affairs Committee in the years that they won their election. That's fine with me.
So
I
moved, Mr.
appreciate
Chairman.
that. Thank you.
Sure. So I have a motion from Kleinfeld and support by.
Hall.
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Please vote. Guess that was a 12-0.
Yes, that motion passed 12-0.
Thank you. Item number 9, COVID-19 update on the COVID-19 emergency. Vicki, are you with us?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Floor is yours.
Thank you very much. All right, I will move through the written report as normal. I am going to save all the financial items to the end because that'll just be a little bit longer discussion this month. So basically, our report is from August 22nd through September 18th. September 18th was day 194. We were actually at day 200. For some reason, that sticks out as a very long period of time. A lot of activity continued throughout the month. I'm gonna jump down just to emergency management and just highlight a little bit. We'll talk about this more later. Obviously, the PPE is continuing with distribution, and in the month of August, we distributed another 100,000 items throughout the community. So our distribution is roughly at 1.7 million of different items from that list. Moving on to highlights from the health department. Currently, as of today, we're at 13,712 positive cases. Our positivity rate over 7 days is at 5.5%. That is lower than it has been, so that's a good sign, and it seems to be holding steady there. We did have 1 day where it jumped up a little bit to just over 7%, but that seems to just be out of the ordinary. So we're hoping that we continue in that vein and obviously even start to decrease. We're continuing to have good turnouts at our testing site, even as of yesterday. I think we had close to 250 people in 1 day, so we're moving good there. Keeping with the testing sites, we have been providing testing through different partnerships at over 12 different locations throughout the county. And most recently, we have established weekly testing sites with the city of Sterling Heights and the city of Warren. So that will continue at this point in time. So those have been some great partnerships that have come into play besides our testing site and the private ones out there. Over the past month, the health department staff did over 2,100 case investigations for positive results. So obviously that keeps them busy with all the contact tracing. That involved another 3,200 people that they need to try and contact and get more information on to see if any of those people have since tested positive or may need to isolate or quarantine. Also with the health department, we noted before, obviously a lot of work with the schools that continues now that schools are in session. Obviously there have been some instances within those schools, which were expected. Obviously, like what we want to happen though is good practices and protocols between the schools, all their staff, the health department, and the families and the children involved, so that those cases get identified and then the appropriate actions are in place. So that has been ongoing and that will continue to be. Health department has certain staff assigned to the schools. They have a separate phone number set up so the schools can get to them and get their questions answered right away. Obviously, there are still twice weekly calls with the school and superintendents that number of different people are on as those take place. Just some notable ones for IT, and obviously you've seen the IT projects come through, but there's 49 different individual IT projects. If you weren't keeping track, they actually have 8 of those that have been completed, so they're proactively working on those 38 other ones and getting them implemented and closed out through the end of the year. So a lot of great work going on within the IT department and personnel that are quite busy. Planning and economic development, we closed out our first 2 rounds of our small business sustainability grants. We kind of refer to them as phase 1 and phase 2, so that those have been closed out. Roughly 3,500 businesses were awarded $18.3 million under that program. We currently have 3 newer programs that are running through the planning department. Again, those came through the board, but they're the workplace safety reimbursement program. We have our online business Connect program to try to help small businesses have an online presence if they didn't have one, or to enhance that. And then we have the Micro Enterprise Assistance Grant program going on. In addition to that, I know it's on the agenda for today, but they will be launching the Nonprofit Security Grant program as well. So that will be ongoing. And then the MyStart or Michigan Restart grant program through the MEDC. Those applications have all been vetted, and as the board members know, checks started going out this week as well. So just with this other business grants, we'll continue to let you know when those checks go out. So it's good that they got through those applications and are now getting the funding out the door. In regards to our overall healthcare hospital medical standpoint, we continue to be stable. Our hospitals are doing well with the patients that they have. They're able to handle them. Hospitalizations have actually gone down a little bit over the course of the past month. So we're happy to see that and hope that continues. They continue to remain stable on any PPE supplies. If they need anything, they can go to us or their own suppliers. Obviously, the testing has continued as well as in that realm. So we're very pleased with that. And then lastly, before moving on to the finance part, just the current and long-term initiatives, just some to touch on really quickly. Obviously, continuing the remote work. We hope that continues and that departments take that to heart. We are coming upon flu season, so we hope that people are getting their flu vaccines and just understanding that some of that may make the situation worse with the flu, with just people not only out in the general public, but also as an employer. So we just want to make mention of that. Our financial tracking continues. That will actually be more intense as we get into the last quarter of the year. We start to break down more of these projects that we have. So we're going to be doing that, as well as planning for 2021 and expenditures within that realm. We are planning with that, and more of that will probably come out in the budget presentation coming from Steve Schmiegel's office. That's planned, I believe, for early October. And then lastly is obviously our vulnerable population. MCA continues to do a great job there. They have a number of significant programs that are ongoing. And as we've talked before, that is going to continue to be an issue through the end of the year and well into next year. So we do have our hand on that. Ernest and his staff are doing a great job in trying to maximize all the dollars that are coming in and sustaining programs over the long length of time that we're all going to be faced with. As it pertains to the financial report, again, you have essentially the same 3 documents. 2 of them are duplicate. One just provides a little more detail within the report, but the number of revenues that we're collecting to date is roughly 168.9 million, almost 169 million that we have taken in. Of that revenue number, again, 152 million is from the CARES Act, which means we roughly have 16.5 million from other grant sources that we are tracking. And that is where it becomes, we need to be extremely savvy, obviously, of which programs can pay for what, and again, try to maximize the dollars that we have and get that funding and those services out the door. Our current expenditures through September 20th, we're looking at actual expenditures of just over 46 million. We have just under 10 million. That is encumbered, so roughly committed dollars, we're roughly at 56 million. And of that 56 million, 52.5 are from that large CARES funding. So if you're looking at where we're at on the CARES dollars, I think we almost doubled from our report last month, and obviously that will continue. Just for CARES Act reporting too, we are reporting to the feds on a quarterly basis. We had an initial report due for June 30th back in July. And just this week, we turned in and completed the more official and more comprehensive report that was due to the feds on Monday, and we did turn that in. But if you do hear anything about that, note that still is only dollars through June 30th. And I think for that time period, we were right around 12 million. So I don't want anyone to be alarmed with conflicting information that is almost 3 months behind, and that's based on when the feds are requesting that information. When you look at the spending report from the IFAS reports that you have, again, a lot of the typical areas for spending over the course of the last month. High areas are the PPE, and again, we'll talk about that in a little bit. Our food items, again, those payments to the businesses continue to go out. We have a lot of payments to special needs or our vulnerable populations for their rent assistance, food assistance, utility payments, food pantries within that category. We're starting to see some of the bills come in for our testing site that we're running through the health department, as well as the public works project that is underway for the testing that they are doing. Our contributions to Martha Teaberry for their needs are starting to come through, as well as you'll see some expenditures now for the medical examiners project has hit, as well as a lot of IT projects have started to come through. So that's a lot of where the spending has been in the last month. If you look at the CARES only project sheet that is within your packet, this is where we tried to get a little more detailed this month and start to line up some of the year-to-dates. We're going to continue to work on the sheet to continue to get a little more detailed information, try to break it down to an even more project areas. As we've talked before, and as you've seen some budget amendments come through, we are needing to move some funding around as projects complete, and we need to go back and revise our estimates for actual and or where we think we're going to be within these projects for the end of the year. So our business grants, we now roughly have that at just over 56 million within that category, and through September 20th, we've spent approximately 18.3 million. Our labor costs we've targeted for 10 million. Those expenses are at 7.8. Our PPE, again, which is one of our highest categories, we've adjusted to 15 million just to cover whether it's for ourselves, the first responders, hospitals, schools, businesses, things like that. We're right around the $15 million mark for an allocation, and we've spent basically 11.5 million. COVID testing, we've adjusted down a little bit to 14.7 million. We've spent 1.3. IT purchases, if you've looked, we've adjusted that allocation down to 11.3 million. But we already have over 9 million basically going out the door. So again, that's great that those purchases are getting in place and those projects are moving forward. Municipal relief, you'll see that went from 10 million to roughly 10.3 million. After we gave out the allocations, we realized that we made a error and that the sheet did not actually balance out to 10 million. It actually balanced out to 10.3 million. So once those were out the door, we were not going to take that money back from the jurisdictions, and somewhat a small amount. So we now have adjusted that correctly. So essentially all those municipalities have more money. They are in the process of getting their paperwork in. They actually have a deadline of mid-October to get their reimbursement requests into us. So we'll start to see some expenditures flow through that category as well, hopefully within the next month. Martha Teaberry is still at a $3 million allocation. Roughly their expenditures are 2.5 that we have reimbursed them for. CMH remains at $1 million with almost 120,000 reimbursed to them or paid for on their behalf. The morgue project I talked about, that's still at the 5.2. We have our K through 12 program is at $1 million. This includes their technology and their PPE that we have done for them and that we're working with. And then our vulnerable populations category has 11.5 and just has about $1.05 million spent to date. So again, trying to get you a little more detailed information in that report. And as it pertains to the maintenance costs, I know that's been a question. It is in the written report as well for the IT projects that have been approved this year that are new under the CARES Act funding. You're going to be looking at an increase in new maintenance costs in next year's budget of roughly $1,016,000 is what we have calculated to date. And again, I know more of that will be presented in the county's budget presentation in October. I'd also like to touch on right now, if it's okay, as part of my report, is the two items that we requested waiver on. The first one I'll start with is the Martin Media. Obviously, I've mentioned before how much public information and public messaging we've had to do throughout this endeavor. That is going to continue till the end of the year. Some of the media that was going out was being coordinated and handled through the EOC and the JIC, but that has just not become manageable with what we're looking for getting out and other projects coming in and priorities. So knowing that we had CARES Act funding for this, we thought it would be good to help someone do that for us, do all the coordination with all the various media outlets and help promote our public information and our MacombGov.org website as the main hub for all of our COVID-related information. So you have a request to approve in an amount not to exceed $112,000 with Martin Media to basically do 8 weeks of that messaging for us and that coordination with all the media outlets. Martin Media is the company that was used by Veteran Services. So that's where we were able to garner the information and the relationship with veterans that they had and the good work that they did through Veteran Services. And then the last item that I'll speak to is our request to, we worded it, to waive the county's purchasing policy in regards to seeking board approval before going out and making a purchase over $35,000. That is for PPE and cleaning supply equipment. We did include a list of those items within the packet that we're specifically looking to have a waiver on. Again, we don't want to exceed 7.8 million. We have issues have come up again that we experienced early on. I'll let Larry Lee speak in a minute, just he can give you a little more detail on that. But we're running into problems and issues there, and so we're seeking the waiver, and our thought process too is if that is granted, that anytime a purchase is made, we could certainly turn around and send that purchase order over directly to the board office so that you'll know that it's made. And then on a monthly basis, I would come back like we did early on and seek ratification of those items.
If you don't mind, those are the next two items. And I know you've got most of it out, but before anybody else talks about item 11, let's finish with 19, because I have a couple commissioners that have questions already. Sure. On what you've had. So, and then, I mean, obviously you've talked about both of those a bit, so we can kind of get through them quicker in 10 and 11. But I have two commissioners that wish to that have questions. I know it was Commissioner Drollet is first.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Vicki, for that report. I believe you mentioned that we have allocated $57 million for the small business sustainability grants. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And was our target or our allocation $90 million for that program?
Our initial target was $70 million.
Okay. And so what happens with the remaining, $17 million, if we've closed out those programs?
We have, that's why we started at the 70 million. We had other project areas that have come into play that we moved that funding to. And also notably, just in some reorganization of how we're organizing the projects and lining up with the Department of Treasury. For instance, we had the business PPE at 5 million. That was originally part of that 70 million. We now have moved that into a different category and taken that 5 million out and just put it in another area. So that amount has stayed the same. But with different projects, as we shift with new projects coming on board, realizing that we probably weren't going to spend that whole 70 million within that category, we wanted to start moving it around. The sooner the better. As part of our project management program, so that we don't wait too long till the end and then there's not enough time for that.
Okay, so we had the flexibility to maneuver some of those funds into different areas of the CARES Act spending. It wasn't required that we spend that specific amount on that specific program, in other words.
Correct. We have the flexibility to move that around, yes, as long as it stays within the overall CARES guidance, yes.
Okay. And then with regard to the Small Business Restart Program through the state, how are the applications coming? Does it look like they're coming in at a level which we are going to expend that full amount? I know it might be early and hard to say, but how does the early projections kind of look, or how does the early applications look?
I will, for that new program for the 7.5 million, I will defer to Vicki Rad if she's on the call.
Yes, I'm on the call, and thank you, Vicki, for talking about the program. So the 7.5 million that we received through the MEDC, we are looking at allocating about 1,500 grants I think if the numbers work out, we actually closer to 1,600. We did receive over 3,200 applications. And so with the other businesses that applied for the restart, we are going to use some of our CARES Act that have not received grants to give them some grant dollars as well, so they don't have to reapply.
I'm sorry, I kind of missed that last part, Vicki. I apologize.
Sure.
Could you say that again?
Sure. So of the 3,200 applicants that we received,
Yeah.
1,600 will receive restart dollars, and then another between 500 and 900 businesses that will receive CARES Act dollars in the form of a grant.
Okay, so it looks like that we're not going to have a problem with that particular program as far as the number of applicants. In other words, the number of applicants meets or exceeds the amount of funds available.
Correct. We're trying to get to a place where all those businesses that had applied will receive a grant, either through the restart or through Macomb County.
Okay. And I asked this question to Vicki via email, Vicki Wolber, but I just want to confirm, if somebody applied for the sustainability grant and received it, they are allowed to apply for the restart program grant through the state, that we got through the state, but they're just lower on the priority list. Is that accurate?
Right. So those businesses were eligible to apply. However, as the EVO, we determined that businesses that had already received a grant were prioritized higher than someone who had not. So we prioritized the businesses who had not received any funding in the form of grants, either through the county or through the state, for those awards.
Okay. Okay. Well, thank you, both of you. I appreciate you answering the questions, and thank you, Chair. Appreciate it.
Commissioner Hawk.
Thank you, Chair. Vicki,
Vicki,
first let me say.
There, thank you. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Harold.
Vicki, first let me say thank you for the excellent report and all the work that you and Vicki and the entire team are doing during this crisis that seems to continue forever. Two quick questions. I'm glad you mentioned the media, and I'm glad you mentioned the business grants. There was an article 2 weeks ago in the Macomb Daily that had indicated the county had the funds available, but was distributing it very slowly to the businesses. How would you respond to that, either you or Vicki?
I'll go first, and then Vicki can certainly respond as well. I think, you know, in their minds, yes, you could interpret it as being slow. And I think, though, that's just part of the process that we're doing. I think it's the number of applications, but I also think it's not only due to the quantity, but also to us doing our due diligence to make sure that the applications are filled out correctly, that any backup documentation that we need is attributed to that. Because there's nothing worse, obviously, through the audit process, whether on our side as the county and or even worse so on a business side, that we inadvertently may issue some money that we might have to ask for back or do something else with. So I think we've seen an uptick from when we first started in the grant programs. And I think when you look at maybe planning is up to maybe approximately 10 different programs that they're managing, if not more. And with the partnerships they have with the chamber and advancing Macomb, I think we're starting to have a quicker turnaround time. But some of that is just due to the process itself and nobody's fault or anything like that. Vicki, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Sure, and there's one important element to this. You know, that report in Macomb Daily was looking at spend down through June, and I would say all of our programs truly ramped up in July, August, and September.
Thank you both. Secondly, we had talked about a week and a half ago about getting some type of protection for the entrances to the admin building, either a partition or something. Because I know we don't have a lot of people moving in and out, but the security had indicated they were kind of like exposed far too much. Do you know if anything's been done with that or not?
No, and I was not aware of that, Harold, or if I forgot, I apologize, but I will check into that. So they're looking for more of a physical barrier and partitions themselves as people come in?
Yeah, they're in that, and I'll say this with all due respect, that higher age group. And definitely need that type of protection coming in. And they're the first contact with anybody coming into the building. So I would greatly appreciate that. That's all I have. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Carabelli, you're up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Vicki, quick question on that Martin Media that you had hired. First of all, was that hired under what process? Did that go to the board, or how was that done?
Well, that's before you today to actually vote on and approve. And we looked at that as there was no bid, because we're looking at it as professional services. And what you have in front of you is basically a quote from that company to provide those services.
Okay, my next question to that is that, are they a Macomb County company? Yes? Phil's shaking yes.
I'm not sure.
I'll take Phil's word
Point
for
of
it.
information at the bottom of the Martin Media Services document, it says Shelby Township.
Oh, even better yet. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. I was looking for that.
I'm trying to help you, Vicki.
Thanks. No, I appreciate it. I have too many papers.
Commissioner Carabelli, is that it? I'm going to guess that.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vicki, I don't have any other questions on the COVID-19 update. Do you have anything more on that before we would go to the Martin Media Services and item 10?
No, I'm good on the update report. Thank you.
Okay, you know what? I didn't get a motion to receive and file this, so can I get a motion to receive and file the?
Motion by Haw.
All right, motion and support by Haw and Kraft. Please vote.
The motion passes 12-0.
Thank you. Item number 10 was waived by the committee chair, the Government Oversight Committee. It's COVID purchase for Martin Media Services. We've just talked a little bit about it. Can I get a motion first, and then Vicki can talk any more about it if she needs to?
So moved.
Motion by Romano.
Duje and Romano, thank you, commissioners. Vicki, anything more to talk to us about on this? I have Commissioner Kraft up with questions if you'd like us just to go to questions about it.
Sure, I think questions is fine. I think I spoke enough on that.
Okay, Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Vicki, real quick question. So with the graphics design and all that good stuff on the billboards and things, do they put those designs together? Is that something that we work with them on, or we just sort of give them stock photos and they run with it? How does that work?
Yeah, we work with them on the design and any wording or anything like that, and have the approval on it. So then they obviously, a lot of work they do is work with the different media outlets and the timing of the ads, whether it's the print or the billboards, the radio, or the TV.
Okay. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Commissioner. Let me just check again to make sure. I don't have anybody else requesting to speak, so we have a motion on the floor. Commissioners, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 11A, because that was waived. So let's go with item 11A. Can I get a motion for the COVID purchases? A motion for 11A.
Moved by Kleinfeld.
Thank you. Support?
Support by Romano.
All right, thank you. So Vicki, this is, we're looking at kind of bypassing the contracting policy, but then reporting on it after the fact. I mean, if that's pretty much the sums it up, correct?
Correct, yes. And as I said, we get you the purchase orders basically immediately once purchasing issues them and selects the vendor. Just a couple more items to add that I didn't first go round is when we're looking at the attached spreadsheet you had for those items, those are the amounts that we're approximating we'll need to take us through June 30th of next year. So that's part of building up our cash. So that is our justification. And again, that's based on current PPE going out the door and being needed. And I don't know too if Larry Lee, I know, is on the phone as well, and I know he can give you a little more background on what they have been doing in trying to start making these purchases, and then some of the issues that they've been running into. But the waiver is just what we came up with. Obviously, if there's another idea out there, we of course are open to that. If you need a little more time to think about it, that can be fine too. We probably just don't want to wait though too long till maybe the end of October is the only other thing that I can add. So if you'd like and you'd like Larry to speak, he's available as well.
Well, I think we should have Larry speak if he's available. And then when you say it's not a rush, I mean, is this something that maybe it's an idea, and this is up to the commissioners if they want to sit down or think about any other possible way, or obviously it's up to everybody on, but when you say not a big rush, when would it need to be taken care of by some fix for this?
I would say, and I'm just going out because I think the other issue that we're going to come up against, and maybe this is why we started to have problems with vendors, is I think everybody's going to be spending their CARES Act money by the end of December. So I guess I know full board's not till October 22nd, at least to what I have marked down. I would say maybe if we could get something, maybe by October 9th, if you had meetings that week where it would be like full board approval, I think that would be sufficient.
Well, that is an option. We have done full board approval at other not full board meetings. So I'll leave that up to the commissioners to decide on what we want to do with that. But Larry, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind giving us a little bit of your perspective on this, that'd be great.
Yeah, absolutely. So the biggest issue we're having right now is lead time, is the main issue. I'm going to just pinpoint one item and then feel free to ask questions on any of the other items. Our biggest issue right now is getting, like, say, nitrile gloves. To get them at a reasonable price, we're still looking at around 6 to 8 weeks lead time. If we were to go out to bid for this, we're talking 4 to 6 weeks to bid after we do evaluation, get samples, and then present to the board. We're going to run out of time once we place the order. It will push us past the cutoff time for the CARE Act money. The other issue we're having, and we've reached out to multiple counties. Wayne County is the only one that's actually put out a bid that we've gotten a response from. I've worked with Michigan Association of Counties on this, is no one's able to lock in their prices. Again, I'll stick with the gloves. We typically have about 24 hours to respond on the price. A lot of our vendors are being outbid by other e-commerce businesses. So when we talk to a vendor and say, all right, we want to buy 100,000 gloves, they quote us at a price of $10 a glove. I'm just making up numbers to have the example. We typically have 24 hours to respond to that because they have to then sell it. They are literally at shipping docks with containers and purchasing it as an auction style. And they have buyers right behind us. So if we don't move on it, we end up losing out on that price. And as I said, the prices are fluctuating. And an exact price, like right now, we're wanting gloves in about an 8 to 10 week shipping lead time. We're getting them for about $11.50 a case. If we want to expedite those gloves in anywhere from 2 to 6 weeks, we're looking at anywhere from $16 to $18 a box. So that's one of the main reasons we are asking. And again, I hate using the word bypass, but a waiver of the contracting and purchasing policy, just so we can well, one, get the best possible price, and then two, meet the time frame of the CARE grant.
Okay. Let me just see if there's any commissioners that have any questions on this, Larry, for you. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Chair, I don't have any questions. I was just thinking, unless there are a lot of questions for commissioners, I don't know if we benefit from waiting. I mean, if we wait and then we're just going to turn around and approve it anyway, we may be shutting the window off for some other opportunities for them. So I'll just wait to see what everybody else has to say. I've made the motion, and it's not a bypass. We are at full board. So if people want me to withdraw, I will. But if they really don't, I'll just leave it stand. Thank you.
That's fine, Commissioner. I was just, if any commissioners had any other ideas on a manner of accomplishing this that they might feel would be a better way of doing it, that would be the only reason I think we would delay it. But I have Commissioner Romano on up next.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, this sounds like it is time sensitive. I don't know. You wait now and pay more later, or you pay now and it gets better. I guess it's what you call a crapshoot, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm with Commissioner Kleinfeld. Let's get this thing going and get it approved. Thank you.
And that is where we're moving, Commissioner. I'm just asking if any commissioner has any different opinion on it to speak up. So we don't have any other commissioners speaking up or even asking to speak. So it looks like we'll be voting on it as is. So commissioners, we have a motion and support. Please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Larry.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Item 11B, C, D, E, F, G, H. I'm not sure if anyone wants to take all of these or anyone's individually.
Control that moves B through H.
Make a motion to approve them all.
All right, I have a motion in support. Are there any comments? All of these have been discussed at their respective meetings. I don't see any speakers. So commissioners, please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 12A has been waived, so that's something that we haven't discussed yet. I'd like to take that individually. Can I get a motion for 12A?
Move to approve 12A.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. Support?
Romano, second.
Thank you. I am not sure who is on the line for this. Ernest or Gary?
Yeah.
Hello, Ernest. How are you?
I know Lynn's on the line. I just wanted to let Lynn know I'm also happy to speak to it as well.
Okay, I'm not sure who else.
I'm on the line. This is Lynn.
Oh, hi, Lynn. How are you?
Hi, pretty good. Good afternoon.
The floor is yours.
The purchasing department solicited bids on the Mitten site for the direct purchase of the freezer for the food program located at the Hall Road warehouse facility. This project is being funded through the CARES Act, and due to the fact that the freezer is a very long lead item, we believed it was in the best interest of the project to proceed with a direct purchase. 32 vendors were notified of this solicitation, 22 vendors viewed the documents, and 4 sealed bids were received and publicly read by the purchasing department on September 17, 2020. Upon review of the bids, the apparent low bidder, Pueblo Hotel Supply in Pueblo, Colorado, did not meet the specifications, nor did they quote the correct controls. Also, if we were to award to Pueblo, it would also require some refrigeration and electrical engineering redesign. The next low bidder, according to the bid summary, is Great Lakes Hotel Supply, located in Southfield. Based upon their post-bid interview, they bid the specified equipment along with the correct controls. Also, they would not have any issue, or if there was an issue with startup or warranty work, they would be able to quickly respond. We are therefore requesting authorization to issue a purchase order to Great Lakes Hotel Supply in the amount of $689, plus a $1,000 fee in the event coordination rough-in drawings are required. We do not believe that we will require the drawings, but I wanted to include that in the approval process in the event we find it necessary. And if you could please note in the bid summary, the Great Lakes Company also gave us a cover letter, and they indicated in their cover letter that they included sales tax. And that is also where they identified the $1,000 fee for the coordination rough-in drawings. They actually gave us the number for the sales tax, so I reduced their bid amount that you see on the summary. I just wanted to point out why there was a difference, that I was asking for less money for the purchase order than what you see on the bid summary.
Okay, thank you, Lynn. Let me just look again. No, there are no speakers on this, so commissioners, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Lynn, and welcome, Commissioner.
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
If I could have a few more minutes of the board's time.
You may. I'll always grant you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
In order to accommodate the freezer project, the balance of the work is currently out on the street for bids, with bids due September 30th, 2020. The scope of the work includes such items as installation of foundation system, because they need an insulated pad with associated site work. We also have alterations to the existing truck wells, removal of overhead doors, installation of rooftop condensing units, structural steel in order to accommodate the condensing units, and installation of an emergency generator. Upon receipt of the bids on September 30th, post-bid interviews will be conducted. If the review and recommendation process happens quickly, I will be requesting a bypass. This December 31st is coming around real fast, and we would like authorization to allow the low bidder to commence the development and issuing of shop drawings.
Okay, Lynn, you were cut off at the very beginning, so I'm going to assume this has to do with the walk-in freezer program. Also.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we missed that. At least I missed that part. You had cut out. So
yes.
So you're looking at the bids are out, or they're sending them out to do all the other modifications that need to be done and all the other installation work. Okay.
Yes, the bids are out on the street right now with the due date of September 30th.
All right. I know this isn't really on the agenda, but let me just check and see. No one's asking any questions about it. I think we understand what's happening here, and if by chance everything does move along quickly, you can always talk to us about moving it along quickly for you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So let's see. I think we already voted on that, correct?
Yeah, we did.
Okay, great. So item 12B, C, D, E, possibly, or any number of those, I'll take a motion for.
Move to approve items B, C, D, and E.
Thank you.
Support Romano.
Okay, we have a motion and support. Just check. I don't believe there's any commissioners wishing to speak, so please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 13, we have two waived items I'd like to deal with individually. So 13A, can I get a motion for the COVID contract shopping services for seniors, please? Anybody? 13A.
Moved by Leonetti.
Okay,
supported by Romano.
Leonetti and Romano are the two that I heard. Is this Ernest, possibly?
Yeah, we have Sheila Cote, Director for the Office of Senior Services on the line as well, if she'd like to. that.
That would be great. Thank you. Sheila, are you with us? Ooh.
Well, if she's not, I'm happy to speak to it. In general, you know, with the CARES funding, we're just trying to think in new ways to make sure we support all of our vulnerable residents. One of the things that had become apparent as we did our wellness calls to senior household and received calls onto our 6999 line from seniors was that it was hard for them often to go out shopping, and we also believe it's a vulnerability for immune-compromised individuals who are often homebound to do the shopping. Many of you may have heard of the SHIP program. It's offered through Meijer. It allows groceries to be delivered to your door. So what we're doing here is we negotiated a deal on the SHIP contracts, and we'll be purchasing them in bulk so that the one-year membership will be granted to these seniors. And I do see Sheila's on the line too, if you want to pick up from there, Sheila.
Yeah, thanks, Ernest. So as Ernest said, when the pandemic hit, we started to make outreach calls to all our seniors to see, you know, what is it that they need and if we could assist in any way. Two major things that they identified were groceries, and secondly, they were in need of essential items such as hand sanitizer, toilet paper, things like that, that they either didn't have anybody that could get for them, or they were too afraid to go to the grocery store. So out of that evolved, as Ernest said, the idea of possibly purchasing SHIP membership for our seniors. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with that, but SHIP is sort of a conduit for shoppers where an individual can go online, order groceries, and SHIP will link that individual with a shopper, let's say at Meijer's. SHIP will then send a picture of that shopper to the individual so that they know who to expect at the door, and that shopper will deliver those groceries directly to that to the person that purchased them. So we thought that that was a great way of keeping seniors safe in the community. We have a lot of homebound seniors that can't get out and shop. So our intention is to offer that to our seniors in Macomb.
Great. That sounds fantastic. Let me just check to see if we have any other commissioners that wish to speak. Well, I don't have any commissioners wishing to speak. So commissioners, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you, Sheila. Item 13B, also waived by the committee chair. Can I have a motion for item 13B, a budget amendment from Macomb Community Action?
So move, Haw.
Commissioner Haw. I get support?
Support from Kraft.
Thank you. All right.
I can speak to this.
It's Ernest, but just in case, Ernest or whomever you would like to speak to this, go ahead.
Absolutely. Well, you know, this was another innovative effort we put together. As you know, when we get funding in, we want to find an appropriate and expedient need to apply it to. This was additional CARES funding through the Department of Treasury, and we've worked out a proposal with Larry Rocca and Joe Biondo from the Treasurer's Office to use this to support residents who have been in tax foreclosure. You know, they have ongoing years of tax delinquency, and we want to make sure to help those residents out at this vulnerable time. You'll also notice in the supporting materials, we have a small withhold there for car repairs. Vehicle repairs is not something that we ever find funding for, and this funding source had that allowable. Of course, there are a lot of logistics to work out for a car repair. If we work with low-income clients and you know, the car is about breaking down, it's a hard call to make when we put money into that car to fix it or not. But we did want to take advantage of the opportunity because that's a really unique funding eligibility to be used for car repairs for our low-income clients. So we are withholding a portion of that but the majority of those funds, $118,000, we will be applying over to the treasurer's office to work with them to identify residents in tax foreclosure so we can help the residents out this year.
Sorry, I keep muting myself. I don't have any commissioners that wish to speak on this, at least not on my screen. So thank you, Ernest, and commissioners, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. I have items 13C and D, which were not bypassed. Anyone wish to make a motion for one or both of those?
I'd move
Romano.
the
Motion to approve, Duge.
About 40 motions and support, so I heard Romano and Duge on there, though. Commissioners, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 14, Public Services Committee recommendations. I also have two waived into this meeting there. So can I get 14A? I think it's going to be Brian talking about both of them. If you want to talk to 14A and B, you can discuss.
I'll move them both approval.
Support. All right, A and B, I have motion and support. Brian, welcome.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Thank you, Chairman Smith. These are a cost share and a MDOT contract for the same construction project at 23 Mile and Shelby Parkway. You had previously seen the contract with Kansas Excavating for the actual work contract with the contractor. This is just basically, like I said, a cost share with Shelby Township. As far as participation, we did get transportation economic development funds for 69% of the eligible costs, which is the construction end of it. And seeking, presenting this to you as far as the cost share with Shelby and the standard MDOT contract for this project.
All right, let me just check, Brian. I don't see any speakers on this. So I guess we will vote on 14A and B.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Can I get a motion for 14, C, D, E, F, G, H, or any one of those?
Motion
New
by
motion for all of those, Romano.
I have Haw and Romano. Thank you, Brian, very much.
Thank you very much.
All right, commissioners, we have a motion for 14C through H. Commissioner Kleinfeld.
I just wanted to express we're sorry for your loss. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioners, and thank you, Chairman, Commissioner Carabelli, for the invocation and the moment of silence in remembrance of our fallen worker who got struck and killed on Monday afternoon while performing emergency service work to make it road safe for our voting public. So, thank you.
Thank you, Brian. I'll sorry for that. All right. Let's see. All right, we jumped in on here. I think, did we vote on 14C through H already? I'm sorry.
No, we need a vote for that.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. I know we had. There we go. We already had a motion and support, but thank you.
All right.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 15, waived by the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee. Can I get a motion for 15A?
So move, Haw.
Okay. Can I get support?
Support, Romano.
Thank you. So who is, I'm not sure who will be speaking on this. Is this Steve? Are you here?
Yeah, I'm on, Commissioners.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you to Commissioner Kleinfeld and Chair Smith for adding this to today's agenda on short notice. As you've become aware of through various reports, anything COVID related tends to come in short notice and maybe in a less fluid way than we would hope to have happen. And what we're asking for today is a budget amendment for $551,000 to account for and spend additional CARES money that has been awarded to us by the state of Michigan for additional hazard pay for our folks at the Sheriff's Department and the law enforcement, corrections, and dispatch ranks, as well as the youth specialists at the Juvenile Justice Center. The reason for the late notice is we were just made aware of the final award on Friday of last week, and we must pay the money out by next Wednesday. So that's the reason we're adding it to today's agenda. Our intention would be to run the payroll on Monday and direct deposit the money in employees' bank accounts on Wednesday of next week.
Okay, Steve, let me just double check. I don't see any speakers on this, but I just want to look again. All right, I don't have any speakers. So commissioners, we have a motion. Please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. And
thank you.
Steve, will you stick around in case there's any questions on 16 for a second? This
Sure.
is just a continuing budget ordinance. So 16A, can I get a motion for 16A, please?
Joel, moves.
Supported by Leonetti.
Thank you. I'll just wait and see if any commissioners have any questions. Oh, Commissioner Kleinfeld.
Thank you, Chair. Steve, have you completed the budget yet?
We are in the final stages of that, actually.
Are you going to be in the final stages until October 1st?
Most likely.
That's what
Most
I
likely.
thought.
Yeah, most likely.
I just want to point out, I've really given the commission a hard time year after year about going down to the very end and then throwing all those amendments in and everything. But if this is the new norm that we get it at the very last minute we possibly could, then I can't fault the commission for going down to the end and not giving administration much time to respond. I'd like to get back to where we got it early, but change the fact that we would make changes at the last minute so that we're actually giving each other time to deal with things. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. I don't, Commissioner, Steve lost his connection, so he can't respond to you right now. He just shot me a quick text. So, Commissioner Kleinfeld, just so you know, I don't have any other commissioners up to speak, and we have a motion for item 15. So please, or I'm sorry, item 16A. Please vote.
That motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 17, resolutions. I have 17A or any of the above. If anyone wishes to speak to them individually, that's fine also.
Chair, I'll make the motion to approve A, B, and C, and D.
All right.
I'll support that motion, Romano.
Okay. All right. So I have motion and support. I'm pretty sure we had someone here to speak to one or two of these if anyone had any questions. But as I'm looking, I don't see any commissioner questions on this. So if anyone's on the line that wishes to speak to these resolutions from the county, that would be great. Nope, I hear somebody. I'm just not sure if they meant to be on. All right, I don't have anybody to speak, and I don't have any questions from commissioners. So commissioners, please vote.
That passes 13-0.
Thank you. Item 18A, I have a proclamation honoring Julie Bovichin as a recipient of the 2020 Rising Star Award by the Michigan Court Administrators Association. Could I get a motion for that?
Moved by Kleinfeld.
Thank you. Support?
Support from Kraft.
Thank you, Commissioner Kraft. I'm not sure if Julie's on. She was going to try to make it on. I know some people from her office are on, but I just wanted to acknowledge that that Julie, Bovichin, with an official proclamation in recognition of her being honored with the 2020 Rising Star Award by the Michigan Court Administrators Association. So Julie, the Bovichin name is familiar in Macomb County, of course. Many of you probably heard her name, either from her or her family. She's living up to her proud legacy. Julie's career in Macomb County court system began in 2003 as a law library intern before becoming a research attorney. Through hard work, she advanced to the position of deputy court administrator and then was promoted to her current court administrator position, where she's both instrumental and influential to the system. We've all found that. Julie's a devoted leader and public servant. We're happy and proud to present her with this proclamation to honor her achievement of being named the 2020 Rising Star. So, Julie, if you're here, if you have anything to say, that would be great. I'm not sure if she actually was able to make it on.
I'm on. Thank you so much.
Hi.
Hi.
Well,
I really appreciate
join
it.
us.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. It's been an interesting few years working here in court administration, and I really appreciate the recognition. So thank you.
Well, fantastic. Well, we're happy to have you as our court administrator. I'm sure all the judges are too. So congratulations on that award, and keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, commissioners, please vote.
The motion passes 13-0.
Thank you. Any commissioners with new business? I will take any commissioners with new business. Harold Hall, Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to give an update on the retirement system since a couple of the commissioners have asked. In this last quarter, we returned a 7% return on investment. Since March, we are plus 33 million, which is better, and I'm quoting our consultant, than most, if not all, the retirement programs in the state of Michigan. And we currently have surpassed 1.1 billion, which is down 3% since January, but with the return prior to last week with what happened to the stock market, we got a 4-star rating from our consultant, so I thought I would update the board on that. The 3 boards are chaired by Mark Delden, Don Brown, and myself, and we made some monumental changes in January anticipating the COVID crisis, and it looks like it's paying out unless things make a turn for the worse. So thank you for that opportunity.
Well, great to hear. I'm sure for all of the retirees and future retirees of the county. Any other commissioners have any new business? All right, I don't see any other new business. We'll close new business, go to public participation. Any members of the public wishing to speak, you have 5 minutes on any topic. You can either unmute or I think you can jump on via computer also. So please, if you're there, unmute yourself and announce yourself, and I'll tag you in.
If anybody else would not like to go, I would like to go.
Michael, you're the first one, so the floor is yours. You know the drill.
All right, great. This is Michael Zubas Jr. I live at 322 Cass Avenue, and that's located at, or apartment 1, sorry, I forgot the apartment again. That's located in Mount Clemens, Michigan, 48043. And I'm going to start now. Good afternoon once again, esteemed commissioners of Macomb County. I wish to talk today about recent events involving a third party, specifically the Greens. Now, to be frank, I used to be a Green. I still support them, even though I would consider myself an independent again. That being said, I was doubting I would vote for Howie Hawkins, the candidate for the Greens. I just didn't see him bringing the enthusiasm Jill Stein did in 2012 and 2016. But alas, Howie may not even be able to muster anything, as the Democrats have decided that third parties are all Russians and have declared an all-out war on ballot access of a party that's polling at, 2%, up from the 1% before the primary. Wow, what a big number. Joe Jorgensen, who's a Libertarian nominee, is polling at 3%, respectively. Meaning that, of course, Democrats have a problem with that. Not with the Green Party existing, but with the left people voting for anybody else but them, which they are turning into quickly a center-right party after choosing to ally with moderate Republicans instead of the Bernie wing, such as John Cage, Colin Powell, and of course, Ellen's best friend, buddy, W, who would be a war criminal if Obama did his job as he was elected to do. But I digress from the two-party protection racket and come back to the fact that the Democrats have launched a campaign to kick off as much of the 2% of the vote, even though in 2016 only 52% of America voted. So I guess not going after their voters while Trump does is a good strategy, just as it was in 2016. But from the states of Montana, Texas, Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and now New York, with I'm sure more coming soon, the intent is obvious. Make the Greens vote Democrat. But I have a news flash for the DNC. People do not want to vote Democrat for a reason. And don't give me this orange man bad crap, because I don't care about the orange man. The Biden man is just as bad, but in his own ways. So don't get me started about Cuomo. Oh, wait. By saying that, I just got started. Oops. So he rewrote the election rules, making it a lot harder for third parties to qualify in New York statewide races, thus putting the Working Families Party, a party that didn't endorse him last time, in a tough spot going into the future, making it harder to be a relevant voice the next time his reelection comes up. So if there's any wonder why he went against the state government's recommendation, well, again, the political intent is apparent. This was the last straw. There is no longer a reason to vote Democrat, especially if they're going to force my hand, in quotations. Voting for the lesser of two evils has just become voting for evil and not good. And that's not the path America should take anymore. This is why we need a new voting system, along with other electoral changes. Ranked choice voting, or star voting, or preferential voting like they do in Germany, or even approval voting is looking good, which I do approve of. It doesn't matter the type, as long as it gets rid of the first past the post voting system we use now. We need to stop treating third parties as spoilers and start finding ways to make them credible threats to power. Because if there's one thing the present political climate has taught me, a lack of power being threatened makes we, the people, the last thing in politicians in DC worry about. Not before Wall Street and the money that gets them to live corruptingly lavish lives. But again, I digress. The focus here is, after this election, I have no faith in the DNC to do anything for the American people at this point forward. And I'm not a righty, but I feel like somehow some righty populists think that the pubs are just as corrupt based on their interest on their side. Just look at how Senator Kali Lawfer got away with stock fraud a few months back. And Feinstein too, but she gets away with everything in exchange for working for the military-industrial complex. So I feel I must appeal to the right about this, as I know the left already understands that we need a new voting system. To my righty friends, the few I have, LOL, we may not agree on everything, but when we do agree, it is a beautiful day. And I hope that day is coming after the election. You see, the new voting system can assist the right to achieve goals as well. Just look at the Brexit Party. They ran a brilliant campaign in the EU elections, which uses RCV, mind you, to go from being a party that barely had paperwork to, within 5 months, winning a majority of the seats in the UK part of the EU body of legislature they use. It was proof that RCV can come help both the left and the right populist movements, keep the major parties in check, or even better, turn into a coalition government where
Michael,
multiple parties with similar... I'm sorry?
You have 1 minute.
1 minute? All right, Thank you. With similar ideologies work together to get major legislation passed. I may not agree much with Nigel Farage, but he proved how powerful third parties can create change if you give them a chance, and how first past to post voting can be easily manipulated to ruin a party's chances given an election after that. The days of government gridlock would end, and we would have our political identities, even with parties sharing power. The main reason first past the post has to go, it's a voting system we've used since the first presidential election, when there were 9 million people living in the country. With 300 plus million now, that simple voting system has become too simple.
Michael, you're going to have to wrap it up.
Okay. Let me go down to the end here. In closing, the DNC has declared the war on the left, third parties, and anyone who doesn't want to vote for them. And so, as the character Tony Montana said in the movie Scarface, you want to go to war? We'll take you to war, okay? The third parties have to win. And in order to do that, Democrats and Republicans have to stop trying to be the only two parties, or else America will fall to the apparent corruption in this system. Thank you for your time, and have a nice day. Thank you.
Thanks, Michael. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? You can unmute yourself by either computer or phone by pushing *6. Any other members of the public wishing to speak? Going twice. And third and final time, any members of the public wishing to speak?
Motion to adjourn. Sauger.
Public participation. Any member, any motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to
Sauger.
adjourn.
All right, I have Sauger with the new voice and Commissioner Drolet. Please vote. I'm going to go with my gut feeling that everybody voted to adjourn. So thank you very much. Meeting